Hi there, I'm Dave Karger. Welcome back to TCM as we continue our Star of the Month salute to Marilyn Monroe. Born Norma Jean Mortensen 100 years ago this month, on June 1st, 1926, Marilyn Monroe found success early on as a model before making her film debut in 1947. Of course, she would soon become a Hollywood superstar and the ultimate sex symbol of the 1950s and 60s, but it took several years for her film career to get underway. Up next is a movie featuring a brief but notable appearance from Monroe, and it's so brief her name doesn't even appear in the credits. From MGM in 1950, starring June Allyson, Ricardo Montalban, and Dick Powell, it's Right Cross. Montalban plays a Mexican-American boxer whose career is jeopardized when he injures his hand. June Allyson co-stars as the daughter of a fight promoter who's always believed in Montalban, and she enlists more support from a sympathetic sports writer played by Dick Powell. In real life, June Allyson and Dick Powell were married, and this was the third film that they made together. But in an interesting twist, which was also daring for 1950, Allison's love interest is not Powell, but Montalban, a Mexican actor who had the rare opportunity here to play a Mexican character on screen. Marilyn Monroe appears in just one scene, playing one of the many women Dick Powell flirts with throughout the film. Years later, June Allyson published her memoir and wrote about conversations she had with Powell in the final days of his life. She wrote, "We reminisced about Marilyn Monroe and how we'd been floored, both of us, the day that Marilyn, then a young starlet, an unknown, had arrived wiggling on the Right Cross set, and how neither of us had predicted she'd be a star." From 1950, also with Lionel Barrymore and directed by John Sturges, here is Right Cross. June Allyson and Dick Powell had been married for almost 5 years when they made Right Cross, and their marriage lasted until Powell's death in 1963. It surprised many of their fans that Allyson did not end up with Powell at the end of Right Cross, but instead went off with Ricardo Montalban. June Allyson was one of the biggest stars at MGM at the time, and Montalban was quickly becoming a popular leading man as well, promoted by MGM as the studio's newest Latin lover. But within a few short years, they would all be overshadowed by the young actress who played the uncredited role of Dusky Ledoux. The same year, she would give 2 performances in more substantial supporting roles that would help elevate her in the eyes of the industry in All About Eve and The Asphalt Jungle. Marilyn Monroe returns next Monday night when our Star of the Month lineup continues, but up next, Dick Powell stars opposite Linda Darnell in a fantasy from 1944.
Next on TCM, It Happened Tomorrow, then College Coach, and later Hollywood Hotel. TCM's got vacancies tonight.